Hello, my Loop friends. Today we have a very special treat for you. Sit down chat with the incomparable
monster player comes to my elementary school with his four-piece fusion band, like Nasty Cats. And unbeknownst to me, my music teacher talked to him and asked if I could sit in because I've been figuring out tons of stuff by ear.
Brian Fitzy. Don't go anywhere. This might seem like a strange first question, but to me, it's a good sort of get to know you. Do you have a favorite frequency range, like the way down low bass sounds, or do you like to shred, with way up there with the violin, or if you had to pick one of your favorite children?
Wow, I don't think anybody's ever asked me that, ever. I would say, despite living in, 2K and north of there, I think low frequency. I've always, since I was a little kid, been
the
bass has
vibrations.
not to make a terrible pun, like completely unintentionally, but bass has really like resonated with me. Like feeling bass
Yeah.
is like a very visceral thing, and I think it's even the deaf are able to experience music via that frequency spectrum. So it's like, yeah, that gets me going, man.
The vibrations, that's what that's what makes the dance happen.
That's totally it. Yeah, and that's the thing that's always lacking if I do like a live stream or something and I'm running in ears exclusively and there's not a PA. Yeah, not feeling that bottom end. Yeah, something's missing. So, good question. Yeah.
What would you say is unique about Brian Fitzy music?
I think everybody is a mutt sonically, or you can be if you have a lot of experiences. The reason that I started doing live looping, period, was out of necessity because touring with a band just got so expensive. And that was the only way prior to looping that I could be the most full version of myself. And I didn't want to be acoustic singer-songwriter guy trying to sell my records. I wanted more than that, and I am more than that. So I would say the thing that makes me unique are my experiences and how those experiences come through what I'm doing artistically. And beyond that, on a more maybe superficial level, the palette that I paint with. There aren't a whole lot of beatboxing, a high tenor electric violinist, etc. Like, there's a small market there. So I would say, like, yeah, that's probably the best way I could sum that up.
Don't hate me for this question, but rate yourself as a beatboxer.
That's tough. I have friends that are world champion beatboxers that I've gotten nothing but like, oh my God, your snare, that kind of stuff all the time. It's the same snare I've been making since I was like 4 or 5. So, I don't know. I've never thought of myself as like a beatboxer like that. Like, it's a thing that I do, but it's not like a coat that I wear. I don't know. I say like 7.5.
Right.
Out of 10.
It's about that's about what I would expect you to say. But I think it's because we live in a YouTube world these days where you can just see amazing beatboxers at the drop of a hat.
Right.
But I think you are exceptionally accurate with your beatboxing. You're consistently great.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There's sounds I wish I could make. My God.
Right.
But I've never felt like the reason to work on it. Because I feel like it's like a means to an end for me. It's a component. It's like a recipe ingredient. And I'm like, I'm pretty happy with the stew. There's other stuff that I can improve.
Yeah. What is your favorite kind of a fan feedback?
Mm. I mean, everyone loves to hear positive feedback, and I do get a lot of that. But it's the fan that's really excited about what you did, but also has some notes that are really like grounded
Right.
and fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten a lot of that kind of feedback since I was a little kid, honestly, from my mom. She's, you know, your parents are always going to be like your biggest fan, and she's been awesome at maybe do that differently, Bri. Maybe try that. Maybe work on that. Maybe do this. Maybe do that. So she's been gigantic, and I think that got me ready for the proverbial onslaught that you can get when you're out there on the internet.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, that's yeah.
There's a big difference these days between like you know, online feedback and then like live fan feedback.
Totally. You know, the thing that bridged the gap was doing live streams, and which actually 2 years ago yesterday was my first live stream. I had like written that concept off. I just thought that like, you know, I was performing constantly, and I would put content out, and it was like, all right, I'm existing in two worlds. But I found that there's a bridge there with a live stream audience, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Reddit or wherever. But they're responding in real time, and there's a thing that you get in that context that you don't get from a live audience in a venue, because a live audience in a venue cannot have an exchange, or at least make one side of an exchange aside from clapping or booing. You know what I mean? So it's I found that like I can get feedback from people instantaneously from all over the planet, like just boom, as I'm doing stuff, and I can go back, and if like I saw something, I'm like, I wonder what exactly they were talking about. Like I really want to dig in on that. I can. Like what? Amazing. Nuts.
So if somebody is completely unfamiliar with Brian Fitzy and the wonderful things that have happened on Brian Fitzy YouTube, what video would you recommend like that they start with?
I think one that I consistently get direct messages on different platforms from people. The performance I did of my song "Sooner or Later" with the Chesco Pops Orchestra.
Sooner or later, you'll see past it all. If you can learn to change, you'll take the hardest fall. Striving for some unity, willing to defend in the end. Oh, yeah. Sooner or later, we'll see past it all.
That was like a summation of so many different trajectories for me. It's hard to capture yourself in a fixed medium, but I think I get close-ish there. I like 7.5.
So one thing that I really love about your live streams is that your fans like actually request originals of yours. I mean, like you do amazing covers, but you also get like a lot of people who know your catalog. Are there any songs like that you have that you're just like, why don't people request this one? Like, I wish that they.
Oh man, you got some heat tonight. Like questions I've never have ever been asked. I don't know. Like, oh wow, damn.
I'll just tell you one particular thing. There's this song from Alive or Alive. That
I like that it can be interpreted to be read both ways.
Both ways, right?
The capital L there. So yeah, that was the goal. So dig, it worked.
It's the one that you played at the very end of last week.
Without fight, so raise your hands and light your light. We could get the chance, so we just might. How long we been waiting for something? Are we gonna be wasting away? How long we been fighting for nothing?
So I mean, that song gets requested a lot. It's a hot tune. But like right before that song on the album, like track 6 instead of track 7, there's a.
Don't you worry at all. I'll pick you up and you fall. One more time at home, all y'all come on. Don't you worry at all. Hey, I'll pick you up when you fall. Here we go. When the road.
Don't you worry.
Don't you worry at all. That's the
Actually,
one.
you know what?
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me, because I haven't played that in months, and I was getting requests for that in 2020, and I was playing it a lot. And I've actually started a lot of shows with that. Yeah, that is like, I'd say one of the cuter songs I've written. I am startled when somebody requests something that I haven't done in a long time. But they're like your kids, your songs. So it's, I don't have a lot of favoritism, but there are songs that I like personally performing more often, and those happen to be the ones that get requested the most, I think, for whatever reason. Maybe that translates.
I believe so. Do you have an early memory of when you first felt the power of music? What do you remember an experience from youth that just sort of demonstrated to you how powerful music can be?
At 9, I just started playing violin, and I've been playing for a couple months. It was my first, official privately taught instrument. And I started in public school, and I was playing in elementary school. My elementary school, I grew up outside of Philly, and Philly jazz great, violinist, pioneer, John Blake wrote stuff for Grover Washington Jr. and a bunch of just monster player, comes to my elementary school with his 4-piece fusion band, like Nasty Cats. And unbeknownst to me, my music teacher talked to him and asked if I could sit in, because I'd been figuring out tons of stuff by ear. And he calls me up, and I'm like, all right. And I go up, and I got to sit in with them. We played the head. I played the head on the Flintstones theme, and they reharmed it and took it to church. I mean, it was awesome. And I got to play with those guys, and it was just I was just kind of feeling it out and playing where I thought I should be playing and stuff. And that was that big moment, and a couple others that followed in the couple years after that were this is what I'm doing with my life. And music is everything. And I mean, that could be in either order as far as I'm concerned.
A few years back, I think you sent out a link of you performing with your sister.
Yeah.
Would you say that your relationship growing up with your sister was more competitive or more collaborative?
For me, it was more collaborative. It was exclusively collaborative. I loved the fact that I could play with my little sister. For my little sister, she would say competitive until probably until she moved to Nashville and was backing artists up down there and doing her own thing. When you do the same thing as your sibling, we both play everything, and our most principal instruments are the same instruments. I mean, violin and voice, and I miss playing with her. I get to do it a couple times a year. We had some good success, and I think the fact that we had that dichotomy there was really something. That's a good question, man.
Just for a little bit of a change of energy for a minute, we're gonna do a little bit of a lightning round.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 2 acts, and you tell me which one you would rather see live. Got it?
Got it.
Okay. In Excess or Cyndi Lauper?
In Excess.
How about George Clinton or Anderson .Paak?
Era specific?
No. I mean it's George Clinton at his prime or Anderson .Paak at his prime.
I would say Clinton, because he's an originator. I mean, I love Anderson, but seeing George in his prime, big ass diaper on, come on. Just to be in the room with people 25 years ago, 30 years ago, for, you know, like, yeah, amazing.
I get it.
History.
Portishead or Blondie?
Blondie.
Okay. And last one, Cab Calloway or Snoop Dogg?
Snoop. Now, I've worked with two of the artists that you mentioned.
Really?
So there's a little bit of a unfair in and out.
Yeah, you can't snub somebody. Let me ask you a couple looping specific questions.
Sure.
Okay. For the longest time, you were on RC 300.
Still am.
And you okay? That was the question.
I've got the 600 right here on the floor. I'm not there yet with it. I'm still figuring out how I want to implement it.
Okay.
If you can wear it so many different ways right now from what I've gotten to dig in on it, and I want to know how I want my workflow to work. But it's going to be real hard coming from the 300 to this, I think.
Was there anything about the 300 that made you feel like you were outgrowing it?
Yeah, there are arrangements that it was like if I had one more phrase where like being like there's a lot of my arrangements have like the drum groove I'll come up with. I'll figure out a way for the main drum groove, which might sit by itself in that case, to go with maybe some kind of ostinato, some kind of melodic or harmonic ostinato happening in it, and to be able to stick that in its own bank and then just have one extra phrase that I can turn on and off, where it's like, you know, it changes the way you arrange and construct, but it could open up just a couple of doors. There would be the potential for me to do things like stack multiple unisons of the chorus, like of the hook, vocal part. And then when I want to take a solo over that section, I can ditch the vocal and bring it back when I need. Like just those little things. It's like I can do a lot with the 300, but it was just like, oh man, it'd be cool if just one more thing.
Have you ever had anything really unexpected but like really amazing happen just looping over yourself, like something comes back and that, you know, that just the magic moment happens, you know, unexpected, but that actually, like, so I've said this in a handful of interviews and like when I do master classes, I set myself up for failure all the time. Like I'll create like cascading errors sometimes, and or like intentionally do things like deviate from the script that I've gradually like landed on to keep it interesting for myself. And the really cool thing is there's a lot of my songs, the way that I'm doing them now, that I'm like really happy with the arrangements. And I was not happy with the way I was doing them before, but I couldn't think of a different way to do them. And by making a mistake live on stage, that ended up birthing the way that I do it all the time now. Do you have any loop influences, like any loopers who are?
No, not really. I would say people that use looping, I have been influenced by what they do outside of that as performers more than anything. I've kind of always done my own thing with it, and it's like it made sense to me from the get-go, and I've always just been kind of competing against myself on like, can I do better than I was, you know, can I use it better than I used to use it, or that I'm using it today? Can I do that better in an hour from now? Can I do it better in a week from now? And just that's the best person to be in competition with is yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Absolutely, Alex. Really insightful questions, man.
Live Loopers, we've been huge fans since the beginning.
I really appreciate it, seriously.
thank you very much for joining us, my loop friend. Special conversation with Brian Fitzy here on Live Loopers. If you click on the like button down below, that helps more people see it. And if you'd really like to help more people see it, you can always share it on your social media of choice, or the good old-fashioned just tell a friend. Tell somebody that you like and think might be interested in this video. Just tell them go look up Live Loopers on YouTube, a conversation with Brian Fitzy. And if you like discovering loop artists and the wonderful things that they do in the world of loop music, you can subscribe if you haven't already, and you can check out these awesome videos about more loop artists. Thank you again for joining us, and loop on, my friend, loop on.